Hi there, thank you so much for clicking the thumbnail and being interested in my work. In this video I share with you my techniques and tips on how I achieve this pastel painting of a rose. Be sure to watch it right through to the end because here and there I'll be slowing things down in real time so you can take a closer look. So let's dive in and take a look. Right, so I like to draw things freehand, so what I tend to do is find the center point of the area I'm working on, and I've put a center point on my reference image, and they're both scaled up to 6" by 4". So really what you've got is one rectangle, or one square if you like. So if you're using like a grid method, obviously you've got 1" squares, 2" squares, 3" whatever size grid you use. But what I tend to do now is just see it as one square, or one rectangle in this case. So what I've got then is a center point I'm working from, and also the edges, the top and the bottom and the sides of the actual rectangle. That's given me an idea how to get the shape. If you'd like to know more on how I do the outline, I've got loads of videos now on my channel, so I'll leave a link in the description below so you can check them out if you wish afterwards. Here's the pencils I'll be using for the underdrawing. The grey pencil I've used to draw the outline is a Carbothello 708. Now what I'm doing here is just using a kneadable eraser to take the excess grey off, because you don't want that mixing in with the colour, because with this rose being so vivid, you've got to be careful not to sort of muddy the actual highlights. So it's working out really where the highlights are, so you're just using the white for the highlighted areas, just redrawing over the marks you've made earlier, and then just laying in, just doing it very lightly because you need to keep that tooth there for the subsequent layers, which is going to be rich colours. So I always do like an outline, an underdrawing, rich colours, and then final details. So there's quite a few different stages, but this is the underdrawing. So what you're basically doing here is reshaping the outline. So because this is freehand, I'm remoulding it, making sure everything's in the correct position. Now I'm using green to create a shadow mixed with red, which is complementary, which makes a natural shadow. So it's nothing accurate at the moment, it's just a case of actually finding those shapes and just laying the colour in. Now I'm using a warm red in some places and a cold red in others, and sometimes a mixture of both, and then I use a little bit of lemon yellow here and there just to get that chroma up, just make it more glowy. Now what I tend to do is draw quite a few different areas so I can try and get the balance. So I might draw, like the sides, the top, and then come back to the centre. It's just a case of spreading your awareness so you can see the actual reference image as a whole. So I have the reference image quite small at this stage when you're doing this sort of thing, so you'll be able to see all the shapes more clearly and get a better balance, because if you have it blown up too much you could lose your way. I'm just going to speed up this underdrawing so it gives me more time to give you real time in other areas. If you're enjoying this video, why not subscribe? It's absolutely free, and then you're sure not to miss any of my future videos. Now here's the background colours. These are Caran d'Ache pencils. These are Carbothello ones. And then Conti e Paris. So same procedure, just drawing the outline first, and then just going in very lightly, not too heavy with the pastel to start with, because obviously you've got to keep that tooth there for when you're putting the richer colours. So again, it's a underdrawing, just basically getting the shapes correct, getting everything in, and then you start to put in the deeper colours then and the richer colours on top of that underdrawing. What I tend to do is just pick colours that are very similar to what the image looks like. So whatever kit you've got, whatever brand, just choose colours that are similar, and then what you can do on the detail stage is just change those colours very subtly by using the primaries over the top. I'd just like to say a massive thank you to all my Patreons on Patreon. It really means a lot to me that you continue the support. It just helps me to create this free content for everyone. If you would like a more in-depth look at my technique, please consider joining me on Patreon. The link is in the description below if you want to know more details. I really appreciate the support. So what I've done in the background here, I've used a bit of black as well, but I've always mixed something else with the black. So I'd mix a bit of a red or purple, but I'm just laying this black in first just to get that depth, because what I need to do is get this extreme colours in first, then it'll make it more accurate for me to actually judge the values on the rows. So I'm using the colours that are very similar. I'm using green and I'm using burnt sienna to neutralise the green if it's too vivid. I'm also using black with purple to get that real depth. But this is like the rich stage, it's not the detailed stage of the background. I'll put the details in the background when I've done the rows. So this is just basically getting all the values in there, so then I can judge, like I say, the actual colours of the rows more accurately. If you're enjoying this video, why not give it a like and share it with your friends? It would mean so much to me, because this would help the channel to grow. Here's the initial colours I've chosen for the actual rich colours. This will change as the painting progresses, because you keep experimenting with different things to try and get that glow. But initially what I did, I used a bit of scrap piece of pastel matte and had a go at seeing how they mixed and just give me some idea of what procedure to follow. Start putting in the rich colours, I tend to sort of work on one little area first just to get an idea of what needs to be done. So it's experimenting at this stage, seeing what works, and it's very difficult to actually achieve the vividness of what you're seeing if you're working from a computer screen, because obviously light is shining through the image and you're working on a board here with light shining on it, not through it. So you have to do the best you can to achieve that glow. I try different things. I've tried putting the white down first, then putting the colour over the top. Now the richest pigment is the stick form, so I've tried the Rembrandt sticks, and I've also tried Conti pastel sticks as well, which I've got. So I'm experimenting really. This is all about experimenting with what brands you've got to see what works. Every picture is different, so you've just got to play at this stage. That's why I'm just doing this little section here to work out what I need to do. Just showing you here the Conti Paris pencil and stick form, the cold red and warm red. It's always a good idea to use the stick form first, lay that in, because the pigment is so rich, and then you can go over the top of this with pencils then, just to fine tune the detail later. I tend to like to use the complementary colours for the shadows, but sometimes with pastels you can't get the depth. If it was oil paintings, you can use the green and red together and you get a really nice black with it. But with this, you know, with pastels you've just got to use that black. Now the Carbothello black, it's like a magic black, that is. It's almost like a shadow. It's incredible black to get, so I'd recommend getting one of those. If you haven't got any other Carbothello, just get a Carbothello white and a Carbothello black, which will be really great additions to your brand you use. So also the Caran d'Ache as well, if you get a black one of those and a white one, and that's all you need really, and then just use your kit you've got. Now at this stage, this is still a blocking stage, but it's more a richer colour blocking stage, and you're getting more sort of more accurate with the values as well. Later, the next stage will be the details, so I'm not really worried at the moment of getting the details and subtleties in. It's all about getting values, getting the richness, getting a feel for it at this point. Now for the highlight there, I tried a bit of pink and then just glaze a bit of red over the top. So you've got to try these different things. Sometimes a white is good, sometimes you can lay the pink in, then just put the glaze of red over the top of the pink for the edge of the petals. It's a case of playing again, you know, trying these different things out, seeing what works. It's all fun really, it's just... You gain so much knowledge by doing these little studies, you know, because it's the challenge to get the richness of the hue of the glow of the petals, and you find ways of using your pencils that you never thought of before, which comes in handy when you're doing portraits, because you'll remember how you got that sort of certain glow. There's, you know, it's never a waste of time doing different things. It's always good to sort of have a change and do something different, you know. I mean, I might do a frog eventually because I love frogs, so I'm going to do one of them for you. Yeah, just look out for all sorts of things I'll be drawing for you in the future. Now when all the rich colours are blocked in, what I tend to do is have a little break, then come back with fresh eyes, sharpen pencils really sharp. It's just a case then really of sharpening areas up, getting the white in there, then you can glaze over the top and then work on the shadows as well. So I tend to do the extremes again, work on the shadow areas and the bright areas, but just sharpen some areas up, making other blurred, and basically just see the whole image and just work at it as a whole. So I might be working on one point at one moment and then just go totally random somewhere else. Now using the green and red complementary colours to get that shadow. The reason I do that, it creates a shadow which is more like in real life. It's not a flat shadow. In real life, the shadows have got really a lot of energy and a lot of space in them. Now to get the texture, I'm using circles and dashes because there's this texture to the petals. They're not just flat, so it's like skin. They've got all different sort of you know, things going off, so it's just a case of just letting that flow through you, sense what needs to be done and just let go and just let it happen. If I can't get the depth of shadow with the green and red, what I try and do then is use purple or blue and brown, and if that's not dark enough then I will have to use the black, but I always mix a little something else with the black just to make it so it don't go flat. So that's the shadow areas, and then the highlights, it's a case of putting the white down and glazing over the top, trying different things. It's going to be very difficult to get the vividness what you see on screen. You just have to get as close as you can to it. Just giving a little bit of real time to show you how I did that edge, just putting the white in first. So you're mapping out the area with the white, making sure that's sharp as well. I use a knife to sharpen my pencil. I find that's better with pastels. But then once you've got your white in, then it's a case then of finding a colour on the top. Now I've used a warm red here. See, I'm using a warm and cold red, so I'm trying different things. You can see I tried one thing, it didn't work, then try another thing, it didn't work. Now I'm trying a yellow mix in with it to get the glow. So what you're trying to do is trying to experiment and seeing what works to get that chroma. So you have to experiment, and now I'm trying a bit of pink now just to see if that will give me that feeling I want in. So you know, it's a case of nothing's set in stone. It's always keeping open and always trying different things, and you'll be surprised what actually you stumble across. You think, wow, that's interesting, I could use that in other areas in me pastel work. So you know, it's great to experiment with these things. Now when I get to this sort of stage, I do take a lot of breaks and then have a look through a mirror. So I put the mirror behind me, look over the shoulder and look at the image. So it's an opposite, obviously, image of the flower, and then it brings out imperfections so you can see things that needs to be done. Also, I'll probably turn it upside down, or you can take a photograph with your camera phone and just see it as a different, you know, in a different way. It brings out again things that you see that needs to be done. So it's a case of just trying those little tricks just to make sure everything's okay. Even take it into a different light source, see what it looks like. Little tip here for the background: instead of using white, use a grey to soften things or to lighten something, a light grey. It tends to sort of make things recede more, I've found. So you'll see me using greys rather than whites to actually lighten things up. So it's a case of really using your finger as well just to blur these things out, because you don't want any sharp edges in the background. It needs to be all blurred, so then the flower will just stand out, it'll pop from the actual image then. If you put any sharp edges in the background, the eye will be distracted and it'll cause problems with the focal point on the flower then. Here's the painting at the correct angle. Thank you so much for watching the video so far. If you want to continue exploring my videos on my channel, here's some links you might find interesting.